Hey everybody, we are back. Eclectic Soundtrax, Skunk Manhattan, Victor Ramos, and I'm super excited about this episode. This is 99. You guys were almost at 100, and we have Oklahoma-based the Imaginaries on the podcast today. And I've been listening to their music for the last couple of days, and it's all just so great. Like the songs are great. You guys are great players, great writers. The production, all of it. So we'll kind of talk about that. But yeah, so husband and wife duo, Shane Henry and Maggie McClure, are joining us. And it sounds like you guys met at a show, I'm assuming in Oklahoma, then moved to LA, tiny little apartment in LA, big dreams, and you guys are making those dreams a reality. Um, you started, I guess you both had solo projects, and now you've come together collectively, and you've scored feature films like A Cowboys Song, The One, landed tons, over 75 sync placements across Netflix, Hallmark, all kinds of different things. And you shared the stages with such acts as Judy Collins, Sixpence None the Richer, John Waite. And did you tour with Brian Setzer, or did COVID ruin that? Didn't you was there a Christmas tour with Brian Setzer at some
Yeah,
point?
so
Right.
pre-COVID, this was November of 2019. Um, we booked the tour on our own. We reached out to his management and they called us and offered us the whole tour, and we were so excited. 25 dates across the country, including venues like the Ryman and many more amazing venues. And we were on our way to the first show in Minneapolis. It was November 14th, I think. And I was on my phone and Shane was driving. And I saw on Twitter, on Brian Setzer's account, that the whole tour got canceled. And
Wow. So they
this,
were ahead of the curve. They were
yeah,
like, something's coming. Well, they were really ahead of the curve,
yeah.
actually. And they were like, something's coming. We need to drop this. Okay.
Well, and they canceled it because he was struggling with tinnitus really bad.
Oh,
And so it was even before COVID and before anybody knew. But then, that was right after that. So
yeah.
it was quite the bummer, but also quite the honor to be chosen to do that. And um, we have hopes if he does it again that we will get to open in the future.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would certainly be a show I would love to see. I've never actually seen Brian Setzer, I'm ashamed to say, but yeah, that would be incredible. Tell us a little bit about how long you guys have only been active for what, maybe 7 years? You started around 2018 in this project.
Yeah,
And when
yeah.
did you meet and when did you get married? Like, give us a little bit of your history there.
So I think we met in 2003. Is that right, Maggie?
Yeah.
So I lived in Minneapolis for a while. I got my career start there as a solo artist and was signed to a management company called Blue Sky Artist Management that worked with Johnny Lang and Susan Tedeschi.
Mm-hmm.
It worked with a lot of blues artists, Tommy Castro, Buddy Guy. Anyways, I lived there for about 3 years. Went through a pretty cool season of my early career, getting signed to Shawnee Records, made a record with Double Trouble, went out and did a lot of touring, and even opened for BB King in 2002 on a festival tour.
Wow.
Anyway, some things changed in my life, and I moved back to Oklahoma in 2003, and it was just really hard to stay in Minneapolis, and there were some issues with my management that kind of was starting to go the other direction. So I moved back home, put together a lot of the same band members that I had used previous to moving there. And one of the keyboard players was a guy named Jim Robinson, who's now married to Maggie's mom, but at the time he was also her piano teacher. And he just mentioned something like, hey, this girl, she's really good. She's like kind of Vanessa Carlton, like singer-songwriter vibe, Michelle Branch, and she's only played at like Borders Books, but I'm teaching her lessons. Would you let her open the show? And you were what, like 17, and I was like 20, 21.
Oh,
So
wow, man.
we
Yeah.
had a pretty yeah. So that was when we met through music. Obviously became friends. I played guitar on her first record, and yeah, just it was a musical connection from the get go, and then that just kind of led into us starting to date a few years later, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started backing each other up. So like Shane would have some acoustic shows or full band even, and I would sing backgrounds and sometimes play percussion or play keys. And then he would back me up on my shows playing guitar and singing harmonies. And we ended up doing a lot of college touring in like 2009, 2010. And we really got tight as a duo, but it was either my music or his. And people started asking us at that point, they're like, hey, I want the CD with both of you. And we're like, well, we don't have that. You know, we're two separate artists. Um, as time went on, you know, I released multiple records. Shane did too. We moved from Oklahoma to LA right when we got married. And we're pursuing our solo careers, you know, hardcore while we were there, and got some really cool opportunities. But unfortunately, the house that we were renting got black mold and we had to move out because I was getting sick. And our friend, Devin Powers, lived in Thousand Oaks, and he let us stay at his studio house while we were figuring things out. And during that time, he is a amazing musician and composer. He came over and a lot and would hear what we were working on. And he said, hey, my buddy's doing this thing called the One Mic series. Um, I would like for you guys to submit to it. You never know. It'd be really cool. Maybe you could be a part of it. And so I submitted my music and Shane submitted his. And John Cunverdi called us and said, hey, guys, I love you both, but I've only got one slot. Is there any way you can do something together? And so, you know, through this time, we've still been pursuing our solo careers, and we've done a couple things together, but mostly like one-off songs or a Christmas song or something. And so we said, yeah, we can do something together. So we went to Muscle Shoals and we did two songs that didn't really fit my project and didn't really fit Shane's. It was kind of this new Americana sound, a nice blend of what Shane brings to the table and what I bring to the table musically. And that was the beginning of the Imaginaries. And so, yeah, that's how it all started.
And that would have been like circa what, 2017, 18, something like that, or was it before that?
It was April of 2018 when we went down to Muscle Shoals and did the One Mic series, and then we came back. I want to say that next year and cut our debut record. So it was like we went back in 19 and worked on the record, and then it was pretty much done right before COVID. So sadly,
Yeah, I mean, you've got like a lot of music out for considerably short time that you guys have been collectively recording together. Were
right.
the early singles was Thinking About You? What were the two songs?
Yeah.
It was a revival and Thinking About You, which ended up being two of the singles off the record. But those were the ones that we actually had written when we went down for the One Mic series. So we went back and we actually cut studio versions of them when we went back. But those were the first two that we released. Yeah.
Okay. And then so how did this hometown Christmas, I love this Christmas album actually. How did that come about?
Well, it was interesting because the one thing that we had been collaborating on, which are, you know, it's kind of funny, is Christmas stuff. Every year we'd write a Christmas song, and it would just be something we started doing together for fun. And actually, I was signed to Shawnee. One thing, you know, I was young, and I was 20 years old, 21 when I did that first record. And one of the things they said was, you have some good songs, but you need some better songs. And they said, we're going to connect you with a bunch of songwriters because, you know, at that time there was still people that were doing that, and that was their thing. And you'd hook up with a songwriter and try to write a song for your record. And so they set up like maybe a week's worth of co-writes in LA, and I connected with a writer named Jeff Silvar, and Jeff wrote "You're the Wind Beneath My Wings" amongst many other hit songs. He's a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, and he really got me. And I mean, he worked with a lot of artists that I loved, a lot of blues artists, and everyone from, you know, Johnny Lang to, you know, Kelly Clarkson to you name it. He's had songs cut by. So great writer. Anyways, forgot where I was going with all that. Can you pick me up where I was at, Mag?
Well,
That sounds like me all the time. I'm like, Vic, what was I talking about?
that was so we wrote a lot of our Christmas songs.
Oh yeah. So I remember now where I'm going. So the reason we got into Christmas music is I had a co-write set up with him, and you know, it was while we were living in LA, and I think it was kind of like actually prior to us actually moving there. It was like in 2011, and we had a write set up, and Maggie was with me, and so we were going to all three co-write a song for the first time. And that day we get there and we come up the hill, and at the bottom of the hill where he lives in Studio City is the Hallmark office, okay? And he goes, "Hey guys," he goes, "I got an idea." He goes, "Let's write a Christmas song today because I want to pitch a song because his wife watched all those Hallmark movies." He goes, "The music's terrible. Can we write a Christmas song and take down the hill to him?" And so that was our assignment for the day. So we wrote a pretty cool song called "First Thing on My Christmas List." And
Yeah,
just
track one. Yeah, okay.
recorded it in 2012, and that was like the first thing we ever did together. Well, fast forward, every year we would do that, right? And then coming up on the heels of getting this Brian Setzer tour, we ended up cutting a few more songs. And so what we did was we sort of took all of the stuff that we had previously cut, along with a few new songs, and we just rolled it into an Imaginaries release because we knew that we had a record under that band name, and if we were going out on that tour, we wanted to represent who we were actually, because venues like the Ryman and stuff, it's like, well, we didn't want to just go out there and not have our band name. So it was that's kind of how that project came to be, and it's why it was the first thing we released. So
yeah, it actually it is interesting. Like
yeah.
And actually, so I mean, some of these titles obviously are famous Christmas songs I recognize, but other ones I didn't. So, do you know what the ratio is of like how many original tunes? Do you recall like how many original tunes versus covers were on that record?
It's about 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then that dropped in 2019. I just got to say why, since that some of these names have been mentioned, it's kind of interesting. First of all, I love the I say deep cut. I don't know what she's up to these days, but I remember having a Michelle Branch record back in the day, Hotel Paper, I think. And just to hear the name Michelle Branch, I'm like, oh wow, nice,
Yeah.
And also,
love her,
man. I gotta say, what's the Blue Sky Management? Is that was that the name of the?
Yeah.
I wonder if this was. I mean, it's been a little while. I don't recall, like somewhere between 5 and 10 years, but like I saw Buddy Guy and Johnny Lang on tour, right? And of course, Buddy Guy, legend. I was like, cool, Buddy Guy. Johnny Lang, like I didn't really know. I knew him from like when he was a super young kid and he had the big hit "Lie to Me." Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that blues kid, whatever. Dude, he absolutely blew my mind. That was like going to church, man. That show was insane. I was like, whoa, this dude is crazy good, man. It was really cool. So clearly that's like a killer roster that you were working with there now, but that's not happening anymore. You guys are with different management now, or
we are actually self-managed now. Yeah,
you're self-managed.
That was a short-lived season of my early career. I think that I worked with them for about 4 years from the top to bottom, and what happened was the two managers that owned that company kind of decided to part ways. So that's what sort of led that to go another direction. And I had a one-album deal with Shawnee, and at the time I was a new artist just starting out and hitting the road in a van and trailer with a bass player and drummer and trying to make it work. It was tough,
Well, at least you did it when you were young and spry. I farted around and didn't do that stuff until this age, and I'm like, what am I doing? This is horrible. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love touring, but like the van, I'm like, yeah, it's rough. I feel like I said that like, man, I'd be down to get in a van and go for months on the road, but I'm like, this should have been what I did when I was 20.
You're down for about 5 days, and you're like, okay, yeah.
I feel like there's something about that. There's like 3 weeks, dude. And once you get past 3 weeks, it's just like, I am so over this. Like 3 weeks is like, all right, that felt pretty good. I'm ready. That third week, you're ready to go home and you're all right. And then, but when you're like on the road for months, you're just like, oh my God, make it end, Yeah. Can't wait to get home and sleep in your own bed. But, yeah, I mean, that's really cool that you had that young success. And so, Maggie, what were you doing at this time and that like back in the early 2000s?
Yeah. Well, I graduated high school in 2005, and my senior year, I recorded my first record of all original songs. And then that was really, like my first time to ever do that. And so I recorded my first real album, I like to call it, like actually doing it right, in 2006. And that was self-titled. And I got really lucky because at that time, the sync licensing world wasn't as, everybody's into it now. At that time, people were getting their songs licensed, but it wasn't like a main focus. The market wasn't flooded with artists trying to get their music in shows like it is now. So I was really lucky because almost my entire first album, real album, self-titled, got licensed in different shows the first year that it was out. So I got really popular on MTV's The Real World and The Hills during the height of those shows.
Oh man, it was so funny. Is like you guys can probably tell, like Maggie is such a, just such a. What's the best way to say? I'm not trying to say goody two shoes, but you know,
not a drama queen, not a real world cast member type of person.
She never partied in high school. Always just a good Christian girl, right? And it was hilarious because like her first record, like every scene that they would put one of her songs in, it'd be like a hot tub makeout sex scene. Song playing in the background. Laugh about it. And I'm like, you should probably make sure you know what's happening. Telling people that your songs.
Grandparents are like, so this is what you're doing with your music.
Yeah. So I learned to ask, after those couple of experiences, I'm like, okay, now what kind of scene is my song going to be used in again?
Yeah.
Is there any way, like, maybe we could place this in a non-makeout, like non-hot tub makeout scene? Is that?
I know.
Hey, we've got another great licensing deal for you on Cinemax late night. Oh, great, cool.
No.
Hey, at least you're getting paid, I guess. Like, so when you were saying real album versus, was the first album more like self-produced, self-recorded on like what was the difference? What was the level?
It was
jump there?
like little local home studio, real quick, and it wasn't really worked on by professional musicians, so to speak. It was just like the guy that owned the studio played drums real quick, and everything was just thrown together. But it still turned out really good, and it was honest. Sure. She was developing, and you were like, what, 16 or 17 when you did your first one?
Awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome, actually.
When you did your second,
that's really cool.
Work with the real producers then, and that was a level of an experience.
Yeah. And during that time too, the show The Young and the Restless started licensing the songs as well. And I was in college, and so I was playing locally a lot, but not really touring very far out until I graduated from college. And I studied music business at OCU here in Oklahoma City. And as soon as I graduated college, that's when I recorded my second EP called Good Morning and Good Night in Nashville. And that's when I got the college booking agent, and we started touring all over the place. But it was really cool because those early sync licenses that I got really helped with my resume, because it was easier for me to get my foot in the door for other shows and music supervisors and directors and producers to take me more seriously, because I had already had a good list of placements. And so I got really lucky with that, and it's now just kind of snowballed into so many different projects, which has been so cool for us to get our music in these different movies and TV shows and ads. Shane's music as well, the Imaginaries, and mine too. There's something really cool coming up. Two things I want to tell you guys while we're talking about licensing music. One is the movie Reagan that came out last year, starring Dennis Quaid. They are releasing a soundtrack for the movie 1 year later. I don't know why, but it's a year later. They're putting it out, and we just played the soundtrack release party in Nashville.
Cool.
On Monday, yeah. And we have a track in the movie, and we're on camera performing it, and it's actually Frankie Valli's My Eyes Adored You.
Oh, wow.
And we're the only unsigned band on the soundtrack, which is pretty cool.
That's actually it's actually really cool, the fact that you guys are independent doing all this. And it sounds...
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I have to add, like, we got cast to be in the film as the band for a scene, right? And Maggie's good friends with the one casting director in Oklahoma who was working on the movie. And we started asking, well, what song is it going to be? Because if we're casting a band, we don't want to look like Miley Cyrus up there and everybody's hanging out on the E chord, you know what I mean? And it just looks cheesy because no one knows the song until the day you get there. So we find out what song it's going to be, and I got to give it to Maggie because she had a genius idea. She said, "Hey, when they told us it was Frankie Valli's My Eyes Adored You, she said, let's go in the studio and cut our own version in the same key to the same tempo. And what will happen is hopefully they'll check out our version and they'll decide they want to release it versus releasing the old one, because whatever label he's signed to, they're going to have to pay more money to license that master for a major label than they would for an independent.
And this is the So is this, what song is this? Is this released like
Valli's My Eyes Adored You? We went ahead and released it as an Imaginaries track because we're putting all that energy towards the Imaginaries. But yeah, we cut that in 2020, I guess.
Ah, right, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like the artwork too. That's cool. The flag.
It finally came out. We had no idea if they were actually going to use it. We didn't know until last year that they actually decided to use it, put it in the movie. And it's just another cool thing. But I think it's just really neat to tell people that's like sometimes if you just go the extra mile, you can create cool opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 100%. And kind of a win for everybody. You got your own recorded version of it. Now they saved money. You're in the movie. There's nothing worse than watching us when you're a musician, just seeing some band fake it, and you're like, oh god. Like I loved that movie School of Rock because the kids like were really playing, and you're like, yes, man, this is cool. Awesome. Like they're actual musicians. You know?
Yeah. I love that movie too.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
One other cool thing while I'm thinking about it before I forget, there's a movie coming out to theaters September 5th, and it's called Everything to Me. And it's a movie that filmed in Oklahoma, and I was brought on to be the music supervisor along with my friend Lindsay Fellows. And I custom wrote a song with the composer and another artist, and am the vocalist on this song called Learn to Let Go, which is the big featured song during the end credits. So that's coming up soon, which is pretty exciting.
That track's not released?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not soon.
Is that on the new record? The new album's Fever, which releases, is it the 22nd? I forget the date that releases.
Yeah, this is
22nd.
This is like another licensing thing that Maggie got to do specifically for this film, and so that came out under her solar name. Yeah.
I want to talk about obviously your new album, but I'm a massive Tom Petty fan, and so when I was scrolling through your Spotify, I was like, "Stop dragging my heart around." That's really cool. I love that you guys covered a Petty song, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we actually had a session in Nashville, and we cut one of my favorite Christmas songs, This Christmas, Donny Hathaway's version. We did a version of that, and we just knocked it out so quick with the musicians that we had another 3 hours left on the session, and they said, "Y'all want to cut it?" Also, I said, "Hey, we've been covering it live." I said, "I'd really like to do a cover of this. I think it'd be really cool." Kind of doing stuff, and we literally they just charted it quick, and I mean, we did 2 takes, and that was it. I feel like there's a nice natural energy there that's not overthought, you know. And when you listen to the original one, you can tell they didn't put that much thought into it either. Kind of went
and what's cool about, I mean, the way you guys are described, I think is pretty, you know, it's accurate. I like there's sometimes like you hear terms like Americana or metal or whatever, and you get kind of like a little bit of a narrow view when it's really not. There's so much wiggle room there, and like I think, but you guys have this great balance of like you've got the rock elements, you've got the Americana, the singer songwriter. It's all comes together in a really good way, and it's super well produced in terms of like the tones and all that. But yeah, it's not sterile. It's not that modern, just like it doesn't sound like that. You know, I always like make the Nashville lab coat. You know, a bunch of guys that are, you know, we've got to have it this tempo. We got to have a rap in the middle of it for no reason. You know, to sell more. You know, this kind of stuff. It's like, no, man, it's just true, honest music, and like put your money and your time into like the gear, the performance, the musicians, but keep it honest. You're not beating it to death with, you know, especially with that genre. I mean, it's kind of contingent on that kind of genre, but I really liked it because it sounds so good, but it does. It sounds very organic and honest, you know. It doesn't sound contrived in any aspect. So I certainly appreciate that.
For is just to try to get a good, honest performance and move on. And I think that all the guitar that's on there, my electric guitar, it was a tracking guitar. I didn't even go back and do any overdubs.
Wow, awesome, man! You know, sometimes that's the best way. I've done like several times where I just have a demo that was just done at my house real quick, you know, on this mic and acoustic guitar, and I'm like, man, this fits the vibe not going to redo it. I'm just going to, it's got a cool swampy energy, and like you hear a stool creak or something, and you're like, let's just keep it, you know? So I think that's a magical thing that gets lost. And I think especially like nowadays with AI and stuff, I'm just like, you know, I'm sure you guys feel it as musicians too, you know? It's like, man, come on. Like, we're losing that human spirit, but hopefully like enough people will be like, appreciate, you know, bands like yourself and the true honest, because that's connection. That's what music is all about, you know, and we're sharing that. The two singles so far from the album, Constant and Little by Little, great songs. You want to talk about those for a minute?
Sure. So we actually started rolling out singles last year. We were encouraged to drop a song every 7 weeks or so, and so that's what we've been doing, and it's been pretty good. The first one was Whole Lotta Livin', featuring the amazing Vince Gill. And
yes, that's right. I forgot to mention, you got Vince Gill, Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah.
You got some crazy big names on this record. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
We are so excited. It's just,
that's amazing.
Yeah, we're so grateful. Vince Gill is on Whole Lotta Livin', and we met him through this movie we worked on a few years ago and just became friends. And he's such an amazing person, such a good guy, and obviously one of the most talented people on the planet.
Well, you don't just go play with the Eagles. You know what I mean? Like,
he's probably the person that could do that job. They know that. That's why they hired him.
Totally.
We actually, when we were out in Nashville, we went out on Friday and went to see him play at the Ryman on Saturday with his band. And it was funny because on stage he was talking about, like, you know, they just got a few more shows in this sort of Ryman residency, and then he's got to go back to work for his real boss, you know. And he was talking about, he was honoring him by wearing a Henley shirt tonight, you know.
It was an amazing show. He is such an inspiration, and he's truly the real deal, and we're just so grateful to call him a friend and a collaborator. And so then after that single, we released Crossroads with Joe Bonamassa on guitar, and that just kind of happened, just kind of like the Vince Gill situation. It just kind of happened, and Shane's been friends with him, and he wanted to come by and check out what we were doing and show Shane the truck that Shane sold him a few years ago. He had some work done to it, and he
sold Joe Bonamassa a truck.
It was.
Was this in L.A.? Because he lives in L.A., right?
He has a place in L.A., Nashville, and New York.
I'm sure he's got tons of
So no, this was in Nashville. So I sold him a 1955 Chevy pickup. That I'm a big old car guy, so that's my hobby. We're not doing music. I'm getting song ideas when I'm sanding on a fender, working on spreading some Bondo or something, you know. I rescued this truck from a garage, and it just was the coolest old truck. I got it running and driving, and started posting some pictures. And of course, Joe was like, "Is this for sale?" And we finally reached a point where a number made sense, and I sold it to him. And a lot of time went by from the time I sold it to him till the time we were in Nashville a few years ago working on this record, and he had a hot rod shop do a bunch of work on it and sort of modernize it. And it's pretty cool. So anyways, he stopped by the studio to show me that. We happened to be working on Crossroads, and I was like, "Dude, I need a slide solo. Can you help us out?" And he just came in and did 3 passes, and it was totally awesome and organic and not really like super. We didn't really plan the whole thing out. It just kind of happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was he wearing sunglasses in the studio? That's
no, he's just hanging out. When he's not on stage, he just just like anyway, he's wearing his pants and I think it's hoodie or something, you know.
It sounds like are you guys in Nashville quite a bit? You kind of work out in Nashville and know a lot of people there?
We do. We know a good amount of people, but we've never lived there. But we have a friend that has a lake a guest house that it's like his secondary home, and so he lets us stay there a lot. So we've been spending quite a bit of time out there the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I know some great musicians in Nashville. I'm gonna definitely tell them about you guys. Do you guys happen to know Jared James Nichols? Do you know him by any chance?
I don't know him personally, but I know of him. Yes.
Yeah. I think he lives in Nashville, and I think he's tight with Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah. Great guitar.
Yeah, great guitar player and super cool dude too. I actually saw him out. I don't know if it was the first time I'd seen him or not. Years back when we went out for NAMM or something, I saw him at the Viper Room, and Joe got on stage with him and just was fun to watch them just lighten it up.
Nah,
And he's just watching Joe Bonamassa be Joe Bonamassa, you know.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's stupid.
That's cool. Do you know who Ariel Posen is, the guitar player?
Oh, how do you spell that? It sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not sure.
He's the guitar. Ariel Posen. He's a guitar player from real awesome slide player, and was in the band the Brothers Landreth for a little while. I think early in his career. With Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Great slide player.
He's a Nashville guy.
He's a Canada actually.
Yeah, he's in Canada, but he played on our third single remotely. He's featured on Wishing Well, and what he played was really awesome. And it's funny because I don't think we've ever, on our solo records or the Imaginaries, ever had any features. But for this album, it just happened to work out that
it wasn't a planned thing where you're like, we want this guy. And it's like all of a sudden it's just like, oh, Vince Gill is playing on a track. And that's amazing. I didn't realize that these were singles off the off the upcoming record.
Yeah.
Oh, see, okay. I thought there was just a couple. I didn't realize you'd put. And Wishing Well, actually, I'm gonna listen through all these, but some of them I heard a few more times, and I heard that one. I think it was like on loop, and then I was like, oh, I'm listening to the same song. But because there's a live version of that too, right? Like it's so good. I didn't even I was like, oh, I didn't even realize it was live. It was like really, really. And then you have the first thing on my Christmas list, which is y'all's that's that first track. Y'all have an acoustic version of that. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another thing I really loved was Carry Me, Carry On, the Veterans song. I just thought that was really cool. I immediately liked that because I just think yeah, man, thank you. You know what I mean? Not that I'm not even a veteran. Vic's a veteran, but I think I just think it's so important to give that thanks and be appreciative of the freedoms that we have. So I'll call it my soapbox, but appreciate that from you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, you got an ex-Marine and a Mastodon shirt here, but I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret about Vic. And you mentioned this earlier. Vic's favorite show is The Young and the Restless, so I'm sure he's.
I
can tell.
He had to pry himself away just to make the podcast because there was a marathon on USA or something.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Pluto. They have a whole channel dedicated to it.
There probably is, right? There's probably some soap opera channel where you can just watch Young and the Restless and All My Children.
Lives.
All these 1980. I guess they're still going. I don't know. That's the thing with soap operas. They just never end, right? They just keep going.
It's true. Yeah, we just decided to release Carry Me, Carry On in November for Veterans Day. You know, we had all these singles from the record that we wanted to put out, but we didn't want to put them all out too quick. So we spaced it out with Carry Me, Carry On for Veterans Day. And then we did the acoustic version, the first thing on my Christmas list for December. But we got to partner with Guitars for Vets for Carry Me, Carry On veteran song. And that was really special.
That's awesome.
They're an amazing organization, and we're really excited to be artist ambassadors for them. And
say the name of that organization again.
Guitars for Vets.
Guitars for Vets. Okay.
Yeah. They help veterans all across the country. There's local chapters, and veterans can go there and get guitar lessons and also jam with each other. And at the end of the program, it's probably a few months, I think, they're actually given a guitar. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
So music is really powerful and healing, and we've experienced it time and time again. And it's just really, really awesome what music can do. And we just felt led towards that. And so we're happy to have a song to give thanks to our veterans for everything.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is so cool. What you guys have any particular guitars that you play, brands or favorites, anything like that? Any signature instruments or anything like that? I mean, everybody has their instruments that they play, but what's your vibe on guitars? I guess I'll start with you.
For me, on guitars, because Maggie's keys, so she has a vintage Wurlitzer.
That's right. I saw that. Yeah, you were on I don't know what it was. You know how there's the little Spotify clips that I still haven't done myself, but there was one where you guys, I forget what video it was or song, and you're out in the field and you're sort of doing the little cowgirl shuffle. Yeah. And you're just standing there with a Nord. Yeah. That's right. You had a Nord, so you're the keyboard.
There's my Nord.
There's your Nord, right? Is that a? Oh, that looks cool. Like that looks like all like
Nord
kind of
Grand.
vintage, or is that like a? What is it?
Nord Grand. So this is the one that stays in the studio because it's pretty heavy. But I have
And that's
a Nord piano that travels with us. It's lighter.
or is that like a weighted key, like full size 88? Yeah, see that I love. It's a little weird when you're a pianist, like when I play on keyboards that have this sort of it's weird, right? Like I like that action and that whole thing. So yeah. Nord's the other kind of key. Are you total Nord?
Yeah.
You're a Nord nerd.
I'm a Nord nerd. And you can see some of Shane's guitars there.
Yeah, so what do you got back there?
Well, I've got my vintage Strat, which is probably my go-to 64 Fender Strat. And, I started off on Strat, so I've got a couple custom shops. And on this record, I pretty much used a lot of Strats. I used a Gibson 330, 59 Gibson. And, excuse me, I think it's a 1960 330. And then a 59 Telecaster. Yeah. So I've got a few vintage guitars that I've been blessed to come across over the years, and those are really the main guitars. Then I got a couple Martin acoustics, and
nice.
When we're in the studio, there's always other stuff in there that gets brought in. But those are the core main instruments. I've always connected with Fender stuff. So
yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to a guy. Vic and I went and did an interview with him. Super cool guy here. He's lent me guitars. He lent me his first build ever to go on a tour. It was ridiculous. I was like, what? And it was like, wow. I to this day don't own a Telecaster, and I keep telling myself it's gonna be my next guitar, and then something else happened. Yeah. So he makes like Tele and Fender styles. This guy Walker. Yeah, check out Walker Doubleday. He's a luthier here. Worked for Collins for 10 years, and then started his own company. But check this. This was like a silly impulse buy.
Yeah, Walker Doubleday. Oh, that's a cool name.
This is like his most probably metal type guitar.
That's cool.
And I don't even really use like tremolos and stuff. Yeah, what do you call that? The marble, whatever it is.
That's awesome. That's so beautiful.
But he has a lot of those sort of more vintage styles. He does a lot of stuff for like country artists and stuff like that.
Cool.
But,
cool.
Yeah, I always like to give him a shout out, man, because he makes really quality stuff.
Nice.
Shane, you should tell him about Westerland.
Yeah, I'm a third owner in a guitar pedal company called Westerland Audio. It's really cool. It's an overdrive pedal that we spent about 7 years developing, and it's actually funny because Jim, who I was telling you about, is how I met Maggie. He actually started building pedals just for fun. I mean, he had an electronics background and used to build amps and owned a music store years ago. But he built a really great overdrive pedal for me for a Christmas present about 7-8 years ago. And I recognized that there was something cool there, and so we kind of went down this fun road of tinkering. And 2,600 modifications later, we landed on our first design, and it took us like 4 years to get from that point, which was in 2019. Then we launched in 2023, which was pretty cool. And you can check out our website. We've got a lot of great players using it from all types of genres. And
yeah, man. Tell me,
cool.
Say the name again.
It's called Westerland, Westerlund, Westerland. Cool. And which the Westerland 116 is the brightest star in the galaxy. So we just kind of decided we'd name our company after the biggest, star. We were going big.
I totally knew that. Yeah, I totally knew that.
It's all over the new record too.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna argue with those tones, man. So I might have to hit you up and be like, so is it? Are you expanding this line? Is it just an overdrive pedal? What do you have? What do you have right now?
Right now it's one product, but we have 2 or 3 more pedals that we are coming down the pipeline with, and we've kind of got a new situation with the way our manufacturing is happening that's going to allow us to get at least a couple of products out a year. So I do think that Q1 of next year we'll have our next product out, which will be a fuzz pedal. So
cool. Okay. Cool.
About that. Yeah.
But you had asked earlier about the singles. So after Wishing Well, that's when we put out Little by Little, and then we just put out Constant. So we've actually put out 6 so far, which is pretty cool. And we're really excited about Fever being the next single that drops with the album, as it makes sense. And that
one's features Jimi Hendrix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right? That's, yeah.
I wish.
So I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Tell us again, who were the guests? Vince Gill, Joe Bonamassa. Who else guested on this record?
Ariel Posen.
Oh, right. Slide player. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then in terms of your band and when you guys tour, is it a consistent roster? I mean, do you have session players in the studio or do you have consistent personnel? How does that work?
Well, the band for recording has been consistently led by guitarist Kelvin Hawley in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. He has been an integral part of the Imaginaries sound, and he was there when we did the One Mic series. He was there with the first record, and he was there with the second one. And we had a lot of the same players for recording the first record to the second. As far as live shows go, we have a core band that we play with in Oklahoma, and whenever it makes sense for them to travel with us, we do. We also have players in LA, and we have players in Nashville. Like we'll be at Americana Fest, and we are playing with some Nashville guys. Actually, all of them played on the album, so it's pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. Is this something that's coming up?
Yeah, Americana Fest is on September 10th. We're playing. Okay. We're headlining the Oklahoma Film and Music Office official event at Acme Feed and Seed, which I hear is pretty fun. And we're really looking forward to that. So that's coming up, and we'll be playing our Franklin, Tennessee album release show the next night at Kimbrough's. But we've got about 30 dates all over the country. Most of them are as a duo, though, just because logistically that's what makes sense for us. But we've got select dates like the Oklahoma dates and Nashville that are with the band.
It's also really nice, though, when you have that flexibility where you can do it that way. So it's not always contingent on a band. You can still get out on the road. You can still play shows, even if it's the duo, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here kind of looking at some stuff, and I'm like, oh, whoops, there's those things. I kind of sort of did an intro, and then we got into it, and I'm like, oh, I see Westerland Audio here now and a few of the things we. So the guy, you said Kelvin Hawley, guitar player, is he kind of work in a producing capacity, too? Is he one of the head honchos of Muscle Shoals? How did that even happen? Were you guys just like, we're going to go to Muscle Shoals because how did that come about?
The Shoals story is kind of how our band started. So we were both solo artists. We were living in LA. We had black mold in the house and we had to move out. So we actually, a friend of ours, who we just saw this past week, his name is Devin Powers. He let us stay in his recording studio house in Thousand Oaks. It was just down the street from where his family. And he's a big, successful music producer for film and TV music. And while we were staying there, we were on his mind. And his friend, John Cunaberti, who produced like Joe Satriani's all of his records.
Dude, I love Satriani.
He's the big
That's awesome.
So if you look up John is the producer of all of stuff, which is just so wild. But he had been talking with a bunch of his friends, and he's been a producer and an engineer for many years, and there was like some sort of bet, like you can't record a band around one microphone. He was like, yeah, I can, and I can prove it, and so he set out to like start this YouTube series with his son, and they were going to legendary places like Sunset Sound and Stax and Electric Ladyland, Muscle Shoals, and the whole point of this was to capture a band around one microphone, and it was a 360 ribbon mic, an AEA ribbon mic that they were using, and basically the mix and everything is how the volume of you in the room, how loud the amps are, where they're placed at, all that stuff. So he figured it out, and we submitted both solo songs to be a part of this project, and got a call back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We got a call back weeks later, and he asked if we could just do something together because the whole series had been booked up, and he didn't want to turn one of us down. So he said, well, can you guys just come to Muscle Shoals? And we said, yeah, we'll do that, And so we had these two songs at the time that we'd written, Think About You and Revival. And we thought, well, those kind of feel like songs that, we wrote that don't really feel like they should go in one of our solo records. Let's see what happens with this, And just that whole process fired us up. And we actually met Kelvin, and he helped us put the band together for that One Mic series. And he's basically like a second generation Muscle Shoals musician as far as recording in the studios. He's been down there since the 80s and recording on tons and tons of sessions, and played guitar with Little Richard for over 25 years. And yeah, so he was, had a lot. He had a lot to do with just helping shape our sound, and the musicians down there are so good. Like there's not a lot of production needed,
Yeah, man. So, and it's just like, this is where you guys consistently have been recording then? Like Muscle Shoals is kind of that's so cool. And you're so right. And I kind of sort of, but not really have had those experiences. It's more, sort of the modern, you kind of go in, you do guitars here, you do this there, you do that, not really the band. And it was so awesome recently. I finally got to go in a studio and record that way live, like with a band with like ridiculously expensive gear and microphones. And it's just like, wow, this already sounds freaking amazing. And it hasn't even been, and it's being mixed now by like a total professional too. So it's going to be like amazing, but it's like, it makes all the difference, and that gets lost. That comes back to that just sort of like overproduce. I mean, it's like you have all these great tools, but in a weird way, you kind of beat the music to death and lose the organic quality. Where, in the old days, I mean, you just set up, like you said, you set up a microphone, you have a great band on good instruments with good gear and a competent engineer, and it's just like, oh wow, there's the song, and it sounds great. Then you put the fairy dust on top.
It was exciting for us recording there because, when you get a great take, third or fourth take, of playing the song, you go in there and you hear playback and it sounds like a record right away. And it's like, that's exciting. Yeah.
Well, and for me, man, it's like, as soon as it's instant, because as soon as the very first few seconds of one of y'all's tracks that I heard, I was already like, oh, this is awesome. This sounds very professional. And I mean, you see Muscle Shoals, so you're going to expect, but it's not even, I'm just like, oh, dude, this is like what you want it to be, So, really, really cool that you guys have that whole thing just like happening. So are your dates, I don't recall seeing the dates on the website. Have you announced tour dates yet or no?
Yeah, they're on our website.
Are they?
Yeah, we've got.
I feel like I see all these back dates. Let's see.
Yeah, those are old. I think above that is all the current ones.
Oh, here's tour. Recent. Wait. I don't know. I guess I don't know how it works the internet.
You're fine. There's like 30 shows from Dallas to LA to Nashville to Milwaukee to Minneapolis to Massachusetts.
No Austin though. Where you're playing in Dallas?
I see Amarillo there.
Yeah.
Wow. Amarillo's kind of cool, actually. I've had some cool shows in Amarillo.
Yeah, we're actually going to be there on Monday. We're playing.
Oh wow! Okay.
A live in studio, live with live audience performance on High Plains Public Radio. So that's going to be really fun. We'll be at. Actually, we have 3 shows in the DFW area. We have October 3rd. We are at. The Firehouse Gastro Park in Grand Prairie. And then at noon the next day, October 4th, we're at the Cottonwood Arts Festival in Richardson, Texas.
Okay, yeah.
And then that night, we're playing at the Cicada, which is a cool venue in Fort Worth with our friends, the Vintage Yell. So that's going to be a fun weekend.
I'm just looking at my calendar here. You said that was the 3rd, like the 3rd and 4th of October. I don't know. Like I'm all like over here, like, man, I really want to go, but Dallas is a shitty drive. It's something about like San Antonio is a hop and a skip from Austin. Houston's not too bad. There's something about that extra hour to Dallas where you're just like,
I mean, at least Dallas is a straight shot though from Austin.
We'll be to Austin soon enough.
Yeah.
Houston, you got to drive like through the backwoods and. Yeah.
It's all backwoods down here, man. We all ride around on. It's like I got to see how long it's going to take my horse to get up to Dallas. I'll time it out. I'll leave a few days prior.
The straight shot to Dallas.
Look for the watering holes. That whole. I'll shoot my guns in the air when I get up there and see you guys.
I love it.
Have you? You mentioned something about Canada. I can't remember what that was. Have you guys played Canada? Have you played outside of the U.S.?
So Ariel Posen is from Canada.
That's right. Okay.
We have not played there, and we have not really played outside the U.S. We have a new agent that's booking us a tour for Europe for 2026. So
Nice. Cool.
Stay tuned for that.
Very, very cool. All right.
Yeah.
So, and you got, tell me again how many dates you've got for this. I guess you're about to hit the road right now, right? So
yeah.
Album drops. You're going to be touring on the record. What? About how many shows do you have going?
About 30 shows.
Awesome.
Between now and early November. And we'll be driving to most of them. We're driving to LA from Oklahoma. We've done it many times.
In your van, your trusty van.
Trusty Honda
Pilot. Is this is that now when you're traveling around, is that full band or is it just you two?
The acoustic duo.
Yeah, it's not as bad, right? Like if
it's not as
you don't have like
no.
5 dudes in there just making life miserable. Like, that's just...
There's a lot of gear and it's pretty tight.
Yeah. Lots of uncomfortable moments. My favorite part of touring is just emergency bathroom, gas station bathroom stops is super fun stuff.
Yeah, it is.
People don't know. They're like, because when you're on stage, right, it's like that's the moment. That's why you do you rough it out and go through all those other little miseries.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what an awesome, exciting life. And you're like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Except for what happened at that Exxon earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have ate that.
Oh no.
Oh, just that. It's one of those things too, like those kind of things, like in the moment when they're happening, it's like the worst moments of your life. But there's something about it after the fact, right? That it's hilarious. I mean, you just have these road war stories of that, that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
We're kind of have a fun...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Maggie. I was
What's
just going to tell you. There's a funny moment in our new Fever music video because the song is all about going all in, and the music video it's about pursuing your dreams at a fast pace, and wheels to the pavement, the night's on fire, and it's kind of a funny moment because we're driving around and we're basically in the video we're going from gig to gig, right? And there's a moment where you pull into the gas station and it's like it says Fever Fuel on it, and I get out and run into the bathroom as quick as I can, and he films me from the backside, walking up to the urinal. I just thought it was hilarious because I love comedy,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You got to be able to laugh at those kind of situations, And then you get Vic and I. It was really weird when we started this podcast. I'm not going to do this to you guys. I won't do this to you guys. It's just I don't know what it is. It seems like the better the guitar player, the more. Like hilariously horrific shit stories they seem to have. And so we used to be like, give us your worst, road shit story. And we had some just hysterical stuff. But I remember the last tour I was on, it wasn't really a tour. We went out and played LA. We just did a couple of shows and we had this super long drive back, right? And we're like middle of the night or something, El Paso. We're already fried ready. And I'm just like, oh my God, I got to go to the bathroom. We hit this bathroom and I'm in there and it's uncomfortable and I'm sweating and the toilet paper is completely empty except fortunately there was another one but you never have like a nice pleasant no, it's always a catastrophe, right? And then so and I'm sitting there, I'm like, and then I can't get it's just like one little thing and I'm like, and finally, and I'm so pissed off, I'm just like, I ripped the fucking toilet paper thing out of the wall and then I'm already just so mad at this point. And then I deal with that and then I come out and I'm getting a drink and then there's some confused old man trying to do the lottery in front of me and I'm finally
no.
God damn it, I just throw my drink down and I just storm out to the van and I remember everyone's kind of standing there, I'm let's fucking go, let's go right now. I just got in the van and nobody said anything until a little bit later. They're like, are you okay, dude? What? I'm like, yeah, I just ripped the thing out of the wall and whatever, man, I'm good now, it's cool. Yeah, it's the worst moment ever in the moment, and then later you're like, well, that's actually really a hilarious story at my expense. But one thing I did not do, and I apologize for not having done this, I listened through your stuff, but do you have any videos that you want to plug? I mean, I'm looking here now too, and you've got it's featured Vince Gill, featured all the people that you've worked with in the Joe Bonamassa on Crossroads and all these videos.
Yeah.
So any specific thing you want to mention on those, and then we'll wrap it up?
Well, we've done 6 music videos for the album, and we're actually having tomorrow a music video watch party here in Oklahoma at a theater which is going to be really fun. We're going to talk about the making of all of those. But Shane and I are very visual. We love dreaming up what the music video will look like, when we're writing the song, when we're recording it. And it's really fun to get to actually make that happen. And so we have a great music video for Whole Lotta Livin', Crossroads, Wishing Well, Little by Little, Constant, and then Fever will come out with that album. So very, very proud of all of them. They each have their own identity, and everything that we do, there's intention behind it. And again, we're just really grateful to get to make those and see our visions come to life. So hope everybody will check out the music videos.
Are they, do you tend to work with the same people, or are they varied from video to video? How are you with that?
Yeah, we've worked with the same director for all of these videos from this album. We've worked with a couple other people on one-offs here and there, but for the most part, we love to work with Reagan Elkins out of Chickasha, Oklahoma.
Okay.
He's a good friend of ours and was executive producer on our movie A Cowgirl Song a few years ago. And
cool.
Just a great friend and a great collaborator, and he gets what we're doing and isn't afraid to get down and dirty and make stuff happen and figure it out on a budget. And we've had a lot of fun creating these videos.
Yeah, it's super rewarding to see those things come to fruition, because that's a whole nother aspect of things. And I found myself I don't know, there's the song and the studio aspect of things, but that visual medium is very different, and I feel like it kind of have to shift the headspace a little bit. But once I'm in that headspace, and when you work with someone that you can present an idea to that can then exceed your expectations with that idea, that's okay, that's what's super cool. It's kind of like you got your stuff together, you know what you're trying to do, and then you get with that great producer, engineer, whatever, and then that takes it to that next level. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so Imaginaries.com is the website. I'm going back over here, but I'm assuming it's .com, right?
It's imaginariesband.com.
Imaginariesband.com, obviously on YouTube, Spotify, all the regular socials. Everybody go follow this band, listen to their music, check out their videos. They're absolutely awesome. Check their website. Hopefully you are more intelligent than me and you can actually find their tour dates. And maybe, who knows, maybe Vic and I will take a couple of horses up to Dallas and we'll see you guys in October.
It'd be awesome to have you guys.
Yeah, and one thing I love about this podcast is just connecting with other musicians and meeting people. Absolutely. And you just network, that's all about networking. And with you with the sync licensing and stuff, it's that's amazing, so I'm, as soon as this podcast is over, I'm gonna be like, here's all my music.
Yeah, send it on. Send it on.
Will any of these work for the Young and the Restless? I just want to make Vic happy.
Unfortunately, I've lost my contacts with the Young and the Restless. Sorry, Vic.
Oh well, then this podcast is over. If we really have there's just no reason to continue at this point. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to both of you, Shane and Maggie. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel like I forgot. Oh, yes. Last thing. We like to make playlists for the artists that come on here. So let's pick real quick. Let's pick some tunes that both bands that influenced you. Maybe some of the, we'll obviously put on some of the tracks from your new album, but if there's any specific tracks of yours that you want us to put on the playlist, let me know. Sure. And then also, what are some of your influences? And we'll just put together a playlist.
Yeah. Tom Petty, obviously. Fleetwood Mac. Alison Krauss and Robert Plant.
Can you go specific songs, though?
Specific songs?
Yeah.
Shane, help me.
It is a lot to
how
ask.
about off the first Raising Sand record? That's a pretty good tune. I really love that one. And we actually cover it occasionally.
Gone.
Gone from the Alison Krauss, Robert Plant first record.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then, Tom Petty, how about Wildflowers?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's one of my all-time favorite albums. That album is
Good Be King, any of those.
Yeah,
on there.
So good.
All great songs.
That's one of those albums. I think. Yeah, certain albums, some old Pink Floyd and stuff like that. Like I feel like I just learned like every song. We would just like me and my old roommates, the bachelor pad, would just like Tom Petty all day, man. Like Wildflowers, you can't go wrong. So cool.
For going totally old school and going with "Oh Well."
Yeah.
The Green tune, you know.
Oh yeah.
Fleetwood Mac was the Fleetwood Mac that everybody knows, which we actually do a cool version of that too sometimes.
Cool.
How many songs do you want?
I don't know, like it's gonna be like 10 or something. So that's
okay.
Let's see, that's Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. That was Tom Petty. That was like 4.
Let's do I Feel the Earth Move, Carole King.
Ooh, okay.
Probably a Bonnie Raitt song. I would say let's give him something to talk about. I don't know, Shane, if you have another one that you like better.
That's a cool song. How about let's touch on a few like kind of maybe more up and coming bands.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do 2 things. That, maybe like a little more under the radar, not so huge, and maybe something that people might not expect, right? Like, what's something that someone might not think you would listen to?
Yeah, here's one for me is out there. Well, as obscure as you can get. There's an artist that I love, a Norwegian soul artist by the name of Bernhoft, Bernhoft. Bernhoft, amazing guitar player, soul artist. His voice is very similar to like a Mark Broussard. You know what I mean? He's just really great. And trying to think of a song of his first record that we dig, Mag. What do you think? Like Streetlights or Sunday?
Or Come On Talk.
Yeah, Come On Talk's a cool song. Put that one in there. That's off of Solidarity Breaks. That's the name of the album.
Well,
Who else?
We got to say Vince Gill. Obviously, Vince Gill.
Yeah,
there
right.
You go. Liza Jane in there.
Liza Jane.
I mean, I could name artists for days. It's just
hard. No, of course, I know.
My guitar, idols. I mean, there's always so many of those songs, but
yeah, give me 1 or 2. What are some huge guitar influences?
Well, Hendrix, "Axis Bold as Love" is probably one of my favorite guitar records of all time. So I would say, I'll have to look at the album titles, but Spanish Castle Magic's a great one.
Oh, that is a great one.
And just as far as just authentic guitar playing, and then of course, Jeff Beck. I mean, God, there's so many great songs.
I'm so thankful I got to see Jeff Beck like a few years ago, because I think when I was dude, just as a younger guitar player, I remember I got his Guitar Shop record, and it was cool, but I didn't get the nuance of it. And then later you're like, man, this guy is it's because I think when you're younger, it's more about not totally, but like flash and flare and like all the that impressive stuff. But with him, it's everything. It's kind of like David Gilmour is one of my favorite guitar players. Like every note counts. Like just everything is intentional. Yeah, so Jeff Beck for sure.
Just pick a song, man.
I'll pick.
I loved that Rough and Ready record. He actually did a cool version of a song called "Shapes of Things." I think it was with Rod Stewart. See if you can find.
Not to be confused. Not to be confused with "Shape of Things." Ed Sheeran.
It might go probably "Shape of Things." I don't know.
Yeah, I'll grab it. I'll check that out. I'll grab a Jeff Beck one.
We both love Chris Isaak. That might be a fun, different type of artist to include.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wicked Game.
And of course,
of course. All right.
How could we not close this out without putting a little Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble in there?
Did you say something earlier about working with Double Trouble? Like you worked with Chris Layton and drawing a blank now on the bass player. Tommy Shannon. Yeah.
They played on my first record.
Dude, that's awesome.
18 years ago, 20 years ago.
What do you think? What would you choose for an SRV song, you think?
What would I choose?
Yeah.
Man, that's tough because there's so many great ones.
I know.
I love, always loved the chord progression of Change It. Yeah, I always thought that was kind of cool. You can't change it, can't rearrange it.
Oh, yeah.
I also loved Couldn't Stand the Weather.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many great songs. He just had that. He had the ability to write blues songs that were cool and so easily palatable. I mean, House is Rockin' and all of those tunes.
Yeah, and even the stuff that was like, I mean, it was all bluesy, but like I really liked like Crossfire and Tightrope and stuff like that. And of course, Riviera. He had these great little jazz moments that he would throw in there too, and of course the Hendrix influence. So I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, especially when you're in Austin, dude. It's just like SRV is just in your.
It's
in your
everywhere.
blood, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I remember like when I had first gone to LA myself, like years ago, and I was playing, which is actually a Doyle Bramhall song, "Life by the Drop," which is that acoustic on "Sky Is Crying," right? Which was one of my early records one of those albums I just played to endlessly. You know, just kind of learning blues stuff. And I was playing that. It was such a thing that you would play it. Everybody here would know. And I was playing it, and it was like, what? Huh? Like, why doesn't everybody know SRV? What's happening? You know what I mean? Like, it was it's obviously it's a huge universal name, but it wasn't like in Texas. It's just like, are you kidding? You don't know this song? You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
Well, cool. We will. I want to honor y'all's time and everything. And so, great. Yes, thank you for
talking Austin too. Like, just real quick, like Ian Moore and Doyle Bramhall Jr.
Yeah, dude. So a couple of things. Ian Moore, man. I saw him way back a few times, and he was a very nice guy. Like when I was a super young, I think I was a teenager, guitarist, and he was always real nice and just a great song. His first two records, I don't really know a lot of his later catalog, but his first two records are fantastic. His first record is amazing. And I think he was really young. Do you know who Chris Duarte is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
dude. Chris is another just the coolest dude ever, man. I got a funny Chris Duarte story. He was such a nice guy. I had have a festival here, and a few years ago I did a big blues. I went real bluesy with it, and Jared James Nichols was like the headliner, and Chris Duarte was also on the bill. And we had these I didn't realize that Shrapnel, I always had all these metal records and that kind of Guitar Hero stuff. I didn't realize they had this blues wing. So guys like Chris Duarte and this dude out of Vegas, Tony Curtis, they played, and it was like a And but Chris, just such a nice, sweet, humble guy. And one of my students, Chris Raffle, we did a raffle, and like my student won his like an old signed Chris Duarte distortion pedal and all this. But so at the end of the night, right, it's this super long day and it's super cold. I was at outdoor, it was super cold and miserable actually. And we're loading up the van and this and that. And I see Chris is still roaming around. I'm just like, hey, it's like, oh yeah, man, my van won't start. And this and that, and I'm like, oh, dude, you need to call an Uber or something. And he's like, no, Linda's giving me a ride. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had so much going on with him. Oh, cool, man. And then, so my mom came to the festival. My mom is super cool, and she's come to the last few festivals, been really supportive. And I'm like walking with Chris or what? Anyway, my mom's name is Linda. It did not hit me. My mom gave Chris Duarte a ride home. And what was so cool about that was, it was like, you know what? Like, I remember being a teenager and seeing that guy come through our town, and he opened up for Satriani. That was the first time I saw Chris Duarte. He opened up for Satriani in like '96 or something, and and he was just always such a nice guy and everything. And so I was just like that. I thought that was just kind of a really funny thing. It's like she was thrilled, It's just like one of my guitar heroes from when I was a kid. She gave him a ride home after the festival.
That's so cool.
Super nice guys, man. Yeah. Cool. This has been really fun. Maggie, Shane, thank you so much for joining us. I'll let you guys know when this is all sorted. Hang tight so we make sure that everything is good to go. Everybody check out imaginariesband.com. Check them out on tour.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. All right. Thank you guys. Until next time, this is Skunk Manhattan and Victor Ramos. Later.